Hello.
Hello, hello. Look at
Hi.
that. That's a really nice little background you got.
Oh, yeah, I'm at my parents' house.
Yeah, it looks very tranquil.
Yes.
And you look quite nice today. You're not that you don't, you always do, but like you look like you put in a lot of effort today.
Oh, thanks.
Are you going somewhere or just felt like looking nice?
I didn't do anything different.
Really?
I still have like just my crazy curly. I think it's just my natural hair. I just put a bit of lipstick on. That was it.
Oh, okay.
Thank
Well, whatever you're doing, it's working.
you.
So today, all I wanted to do was get a general sense of how the gateway training was for you. Um, Partly, it's a chance for as I said, I'm trying to build the school, and I want people to have a really sort of personal sense of what it's like to do these trainings to expand consciousness. But also, there's that element of feedback for me. So I'm kind of trying to build in public. And that way people can see my growth as well and then see your experiences. And hopefully that's something that they might resonate with.
Mhm.
So it's going to be sort of semi-podcast style, but also just like a friendly conversation. Yeah. So before we dive in, is there anything in particular that you had on your mind or you wanted to chat about? Or we can get started.
No, we can just get started.
All right. Awesome. Well, I guess the first question really is, what did you have as an expectation going into Gateway? Like, did you know much about it? And, well, yeah, let's start there. What were your expectations going in?
I only had a brief understanding of what it was just because I had seen some videos on Facebook and things like that. But what I was expecting from it was sort of that I would have more clarity and calmness and heightened intuition. That's what I was expecting. And I thought that through doing long-term training, it could help to develop things like out-of-body experiences and telepathy and things like that.
Okay, awesome. So it sounds like you had a little bit of an understanding of some of the more esoteric claims about Gateway.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're already familiar because for if anyone's watching this, for people who don't know, you're a dream therapist, so you've probably got a fair bit of experience with delving into the unconscious. Do you want to actually give a little bit about yourself, your background, what you do, and then how you thought this might fit in?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I'm a dream therapist and teacher. So what that is that I help people with their own dream world and in a few different ways, being able to grow their dreams and remember more, being able to understand and interpret what the messages are from the subconscious coming through, and then being able to sort of tap in and communicate with that part of their mind through lucid dreaming. And I was really hopeful that doing this course, it would help me in a few different ways, enhancing my own dream life because meditation is linked with lucid dreaming. You're building your awareness in your waking life, it's going to flow through to your dreams. And I did find that really happened for me. My dreams, I started remembering about three per night, whereas I was remembering
Wow.
about one per night. And the length of them like tripled, clarity, vividness, everything was enhanced. And the amount of times that I was getting lucid was like nearly, probably about two or three times a week, whereas previously it was about two or maybe one or two times a month.
Hmm.
So it really, really enhanced my dream world, which has been really helpful for me, in life changes and questions and everything like that. So yeah, it's been really good.
Great. Well, because one of the things in Gateway is this idea that if you use this training, that you can become a little bit more of an author of your own reality. And I imagine you do something similar already with the dream. So could you tell me a little bit about what what are you training when you help people become lucid, or what are you trying to achieve when you become lucid or aware of your dreams?
So I feel like dreams are such an amazing place to be able to get answers that come from within. So, personally, and a lot of people I see is that I used to have a problem and I'd think I needed to see a therapist or talk to my friends or talk to my family to get an answer. And you can hear people saying, "Oh, but you know all the answers within." But sometimes when you're stressed, it's very foggy and it's really hard to know what you're doing is right. And you could have your mind telling you one thing and your emotions telling you something else, and it's really difficult to figure out what way you should go. So what I find with dreams is it's like our soul has this knowing of what's best for us and how we can reach like overall happiness and how we can let go of the past, like negative things. And what I find with dreams is that you're able to sort of communicate to your soul through your subconscious. And yeah, so I think that's why it's really, really beneficial for people instead of, going and getting someone else's opinion on what you should do with your life, is that you can go into a dream. Even if you can't get lucid, you can set an intention before you go to sleep, like, I really want to know what I should do about, this particular relationship or whatever, and then see what you dream about. And it could be that you wake up and you think that that was really confusing and it had nothing to do with it. But when you pick apart the symbolism and the metaphors and the storyline, it's actually giving you an answer or some guidance on what to do. The other way is that you can become lucid within the dream, and then you can ask a dream character. You can just say out to the sky or to the dream and ask your question or what you want to see, and it will give you an answer or take you on a journey to give you some clarity. There is like this what they call the wisdom behind the dream, and it's not the thing that creates the dream. It's like some people will say there's like a big booming voice that answers questions, or there is some kind of a creator behind it that it's just, some people will say it's your higher self or it's God, or, there's all of these different names for it. But there is this, like, it's almost like a universal intelligence that comes through in this way that can give you these extremely profound answers and amazing wisdom and guidance. And so it's something that we can all tap into, and not many people realize that it's there. So I'm really passionate about helping people to discover that for themselves.
Fantastic. I like it because as somebody who's had a very, I like to explore consciousness as well through all different ways. And it seems like you've taken a really direct approach with dreams and you teach people how to gain access to the subconscious and gain access to that inner knowing. So then I guess the natural question would be how well aligned did you find what you already knew about subconscious exploration and dreams with the techniques and then some maybe even the assumptions of Gateway? Let me know if you want me to ask that question
No,
differently.
you're right. I liked that there was a mixture between the science and the spiritual, and that was something that made me feel really comfortable because that's the way that I approach dream work. And I felt that was really aligned in that it wasn't just all like woo woo, like, listen to these sounds and you'll feel great. But it really explained the science behind how this works, even down to like tiny little scientific molecular levels and then huge expansion of the universe. And it gave a lot of clarity about why things are the way that they are. And it solidified a few sort of personal concepts and ideas that I had.
Mm.
So yeah, that's just what I loved and I saw linked was that there is science behind why all of this stuff works. It's not just like some hippie telling you to go and meditate and quiet your mind. That there was like a lot of really well researched scientific reasons as to why this stuff you should believe in it and you should give it a go. So I feel the same way about dreams. Once you kind of look into it, you see that there is a lot more behind it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Well, that's I guess leads naturally to the questions that I have about how the course was structured in terms of the intensity, the pace.
Mhm.
Um, because we tried to keep it as a small or a short course, but I also tried to put a lot in there so that there was, if you wanted to go deep on the knowledge, you could get as much as you needed.
Yeah.
And I did want to present it in a reasonably high level way so that you felt like there was it wasn't just, oh, there's information over there if you wanted to go look into it, but it's like, here's the information, here's how I think about it, and here's the science behind it. Did you find that the intensity, the depth of explanation was adequate? Was it too much? Would you have preferred more?
I
Where do you see it?
I thought it was great, and I loved when you would give us the weekly sort of meetups, and then you would go through like the slideshows and things that you had made. I found that was awesome. I think the pace and intensity were perfect for me. I would have loved to have seen it as a 6 month course, just because I feel like it was like, okay, we did the theory, and then we were just sort of dipping our toes into all the really cool stuff, and then it was like, okay, bye. So, and I, there's just so much in it that I was like, oh, I want to keep going. I think that what we could have done was have reading the book first on its own as a prerequisite. So, like, say 2 weeks before we started the group meetings, be like, read the book
Mm.
so that we had sort of that background knowledge, and then we would have been able to do a bit more of the other theory and like I don't know the practical the meditations and sharing together without
Mm.
feeling like we were split across doing all of these
Yeah,
different things.
no, that's really, really helpful. So a similar comment has come from many of the others that they would like more, right? Because we didn't get super deep into the training. It was really an introduction into it with the background. So one thing I'm contemplating is running several of the beginning trainings, but also a few advanced trainings. So for people who've done a beginner level, the intro course, and then maybe have whether it's an advanced group or we do similar training where it's weekly meetups or something like that, would you be interested if we had some, you know,
Yeah,
further
it's a
courses?
great idea. Yeah.
Okay, cool, cool. Because it's certainly a passion of mine. And this one being the first one, it was a free course and I had to build it and deliver it. So in terms of being able to manage the time and energy was challenged, but definitely I would love to keep this going. So I'm really happy that there's enthusiasm. Were there any specific breakthroughs you experienced as a result of this training or as a result of this course?
Yeah, there was like heaps, like really big.
Okay, awesome.
So the training surprised me in how quickly I felt my energy field started to change, in that I felt like I was beginning to vibrate at a different frequency, and that things that no longer aligned with me just started kind of ejecting themselves out of my life.
Mm.
And I did, one of my intentions when I was going in was I was asking during meditation to have anything that is clouding me or blocking me or holding me back to be revealed. And that definitely happened. So right at the beginning of it, I think, or maybe week 2 or something, my husband assaulted me, which was the first time that that's ever happened. And that ended we were together for 8 years, and that ended our marriage right then and there. And it was a huge shock to me. But then I had the realization that, you know, he has anger issues, and due to that, I was being clouded every day and I was being dragged down in life. And I never would have left him because my level of like uncomfortability had never been crossed. So that crossed it, and now I have so much more peace in my life and clarity and time to think and expand and grow and be on my own and that sort of a thing. So yeah, and within all of that, I I had to put myself and my children first. And it was the first kind of time when I've chosen to love myself more than someone else, because I'm a very giving person. I'm a carer. I always like will be uncomfortable for myself to make sure everyone else around me is comfortable. And this really shifted that for me, where it was like, no, it's time to love myself. And then that takes me on to like the next huge breakthrough that I had, which was I went to a sound healing. And because of this training, I was understanding the concepts of how the frequencies
Mm.
and the sound and everything affects us.
Mm.
And so I was really paying attention to any like thoughts that were coming in or visuals or anything like that. And I had a huge realization. So an issue that I'd had my whole life was that I never felt that my mum truly loved me. Like I felt quite unwanted and always struggled with that my whole life and was looking for love externally a lot of the time. And then during the sound healing, I had a big realization, and I started to feel love from my mum. And I had this realization that until now, up until this assault and me not putting myself first, I wasn't truly loving myself. And it was like that magnet of, you have to love yourself for others to love you. And I knew in my mind, oh, yeah, I love myself. And that's a concept of how the world works. But I had never really felt it or done something so significant to change my life where I was fully loving myself. And ever since I had that realization and that feeling, my relationship with my mum has improved hugely, like massively. And even in my dreams now, I'm dreaming of her being like, Melly, I love you, and all of this. And it's so nice.
Yeah.
And like literally, I'm at her house right now. So that was a huge shift as well, and something really positive. Um,
There's several really amazing and big things there. 'Cause obviously we had talked about these things along the way. And one of the things that I was really impressed at was your demeanor and your ability to kind of see it without falling into certain, patterns of like what you might call trauma or anything like that. Because I think what can happen is when circumstances like these happen is it's a perfect justification to fall into a victim mentality, right? And everybody would be completely on your side to say, yep, yep, you're a victim, etc. But you didn't take that approach. That wasn't, and I think part of the gateway training and what you're doing with your subconscious mind already with the dreaming is that it gives you a sense that you are the author of your life.
yeah,
And this is kind of easy when it's like, oh, well, you can arrange your room the way you want it and do certain things. But it's a lot harder when we think, well, the world has been unjust to us in some really, really visceral ways, like, violence, things like that, where we feel the victim. It's so easy to play victim and go into that mindset. But I was really impressed that you didn't, that you recognized it for what it was, also took ownership of the elements that you were responsible for and said, I need to make certain changes. And now as a result, you've got a great relationship with yourself, with your mum, right? You're engaged in all kinds of, wholesome self-building techniques and what would you call it? Strategies. That's not the word I was looking for, but you know what I'm saying? Like you're choosing to build yourself up rather than see yourself as a victim. So I think
yeah,
that's awesome.
thank you.
And yeah, I was just impressed by that through the entire process.
Yeah, it's definitely, I've surprised myself and my friends are very surprised as well. Like they're like, this gateway thing is like amazing for you
Yeah.
because I suppose there was probably half a day where I was feeling victim and I was like, I'm a good person. Why is this happening to me? And I really didn't understand it.
Yeah.
And then I think I did one of the meditations and I was just like, oh, everything happens for a reason. But I could
Yeah.
actually see it rather
Yeah.
than just be like, that's a stupid thing. I don't know what the
Yeah.
reason is. And then I was able to have these big downloads and like feel them and see them and have clarity and just be able to get over it. And I think that the gateway meditations were really helping me to kind of get outside of my little, when you're emotional and you're upset, you're just so within yourself. And
Yeah.
it just really helped me to sort of expand beyond that and see things from different perspectives.
Mm.
And that, this is something positive. Even though it was something negative and I was hurt and traumatized and it was like terrible, there's the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm grateful for that. So it was weird. Yeah, I came home from that sound healing and I was like, thanked my husband for what he did. And I was like, never done that. I would have
Yeah.
been stuck
Yeah.
for the rest of my life. So
Yeah. It's such an amazing insight that you've come to and that you were able to see that, like, in a sense, you attracted this. It had to come to this point so that certain decisions could be made, certain actions could be made.
yeah.
And in a sense, you authored it. Still, it doesn't excuse his behavior because he authored his own
Yeah.
life too. But it's a really helpful perspective.
That like be careful what you wish for type thing.
You
You
just
never
might
know
get it.
how you're gonna get what you want, but you never know how. So
Yeah, 100%.
yeah.
And it's interesting what you're saying really aligns with what both Dan and Angie have said, that tunnel vision perspective that we can be in, and it seems to have just opened it up so that
Mm.
it feels like you're taking in more or you're seeing from a different perspective, and which obviously that aligns well with Bentov's model of altered states of consciousness is how we expand consciousness, right? Being able to see things from different perspectives. So I'm really impressed at everybody's stories, and honestly, the training went better than I had personally expected it to. Um, so, are there any other things that you wanted to say about it, or that you any other experiences that are worth sharing?
Yeah,
Are you still practicing? That's an important one as well.
I am not daily. I probably do two or three a week, but I am, and I love it. Um, yeah, it's just like a new way of being, I think. But there is another experience that I wanted to share with you because I haven't updated
Yeah.
you on this one. And when we went into the course, you got us to do like a vision board or like have a specific goal in mind. And one of my main goal was I wanted to get some clarity and guidance on how to sort of build or work with. I'm building a lucid dreaming course, and to better humanity. And I wanted to make like a learn to lucid dream in 6 weeks course. And so, yeah, I was hoping that I would get more clarity around that. Um, and I was still kind of feeling a bit overwhelmed with it. And then it was probably only a week ago I did one of the meditations. And then afterwards, I just got this big kind of download or idea come into my head that that course isn't what humanity needs right now. What they do need is for me to start at the very beginning. And that's not like a how to remember more dreams or how to do dream work, but what it meant was to start with children at the
Mm.
very beginning.
Oh,
And it
wow.
doesn't need to be a 6 week course or anything like that. So I've written up an online lesson that goes just for about 1.5 hours, and I've titled it Empowering Children Through Their Dreams, a Parent's and Teacher's Guide with a
Nice.
downloadable workbook.
Yeah.
So I'm running a beta group for free then to gather feedback and reviews before I film it professionally to sell online and hopefully to schools. So
That's amazing.
And now I feel like all of this passion and drive because before it
Yeah.
was like I had the whole 6 week lucid dreaming coursing on paper, but I just felt like something was missing. And so I wasn't like really pushed to pursue it or to keep going with it.
Mm.
So this came through and I was like, ah, of course. And then the next one that I do when that's done will be focused on for how to help people to overcome nightmares, especially those who have had PTSD or suffered some kind of trauma,
Mm.
because that's exactly what got me into dream work was I
Right.
was suffering from extreme nightmares from PTSD and learnt to overcome it. And then that's where I was able to heal myself and let go of all of that trauma and things like that. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
So have you worked with kids before with dreaming?
Yeah, and I've been
Okay.
trained on how to in both of my teacher's course and my diploma. So
Okay, great. So this isn't
really,
just a
and I have a daughter that
and
I've been
yeah, yeah.
correcting. So
This isn't a pie in the sky idea. This is something that you know
oh
is
yeah, I'm
practical and
qualified to
applies.
do it. Yeah.
Perfect. Amazing.
Yeah.
Um, that's really all I have in terms of, I guess, the technical questions. So you're still practicing. You got plenty out of it, it seems. And if we did have a longer course or an advanced course, you'd be more than interested.
Yeah.
Um, is there anything else that you wanted to share? I know that you're a dream therapist. Do you have socials? Do you have some kind of website that you'd like people to know about?
Yeah, sure. My website's dreamhub.au. And I do use Instagram a lot. I post a lot of like videos and educational reels and concepts and dreams and stuff like that. And it's dream double underscore hub. So
Okay. Well, I will make sure that's in the description of the video. So this will go on YouTube and we might just use it in other little things. I don't have a very extensive social, presence, but over time, who knows what'll happen. But I'll make sure that people can find you.
um, and
Do
I
you
guess
have
if
any?
people like podcasts, I have a podcast too called the
Oh,
Dream
cool.
Hub Podcast. And I share a few of my own dreams and things, but majority of the episodes are where I interview experts in the field of dreams. So
Okay.
they're on all
Amazing.
different topics with like the biggest names in dreaming. So
All right.
yeah, it's good to listen to.
So, if you'll be able to send me those links and I'll make sure that they're available either in the captions or whatever. That's it. Do you have anything that you wanted to chat about? Anything that was still on your mind as a result of this course?
No, I just wanted to say thank you. I've loved it.
It's been my absolute pleasure. Well, thank you for doing this. That's all we have, so appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, Regan. We'll stay in touch.
Cheers. Yeah, I'll stop the recording